Recently, you may have seen the video from Mutts Coffee in Beaverton about their employee Jaden and her husband Tony having to leave the country after Tony was targeted by ICE. Here to read Tony's story are Caitlin, a friend of Jaden's, and Jacqueline, co-owner of Mutts. Please give them a warm welcome.
Hello, thank you all for being here. My name is Caitlin. My grandmother was a Pakistani immigrant and the reason I'm here at all. I'm a barista at Mutts Coffee, and it is through this job that I've had the honor of knowing a radiant woman named Jaden and her loving husband, Tony. The reason we are here today. Today is a special day. It marks Tony and Jaden's 6-month wedding anniversary. However, they will not get to spend the day together celebrating their love because they have been forcibly separated and now 2,100 cruel miles lie between them. This is Tony's experience in his own words. Hi, my name is Tony. On October 29th, I was able to say goodbye to my wife as she headed off to work. Soon after, I got ready to head out to work myself. As I was getting into my truck, about to start it, 4 vehicles pulled up to block me in. As I asked them what they wanted, they told me that I was under arrest. I didn't understand why. They were not the police and they were not immigration. They were the headhunters. I looked at them and got out of my truck. One pulled a gun on me, the others came toward me and threw me into sticker bushes and wrestled me to the ground. My face was bloody, and the one who had pulled a gun on me shoved my face into the sticker bushes and dirt. From there, they handcuffed me and dragged me to the parking lot, where they were trying to clean the blood and dirt off my face. I asked if they could please loosen the handcuffs. They were too tight, and my fingers were going numb. They didn't. They shoved me in the back seat, put my seatbelt on, and took me to the Portland ICE facility. The whole car ride, my right shoulder and hands were numb and hurt so bad the pain was unbearable. Once we got inside the ICE facility, they removed the handcuffs and had a doctor come to check me, but they did not clean any blood off my hands, arms, or face. Half an hour passed, and they put me in a cell that was cold and held nothing but concrete benches. I was in there for 2 hours with 60 other people. I finally got to make a phone call to my wife to tell her what happened at 1:15. She was devastated, crying, and heartbroken. She asked if she could come see me, and the ICE agent with me said, yes, I would be there until the evening. My wife, brother, sister-in-law, and son all showed up. My wife went to the door asking to see me, and the agent there told her I was already on my way to Tacoma. They lied to my family. They made my wife suffer more and cry for me when I was sitting 40 feet away, inside. Later that evening, around 7 p.m., we were shipped out. My wrists were shackled to my waist, and all of us were shackled ankle to ankle like animals. We were put on a bus where the air was 55 degrees, and for 4 hours, we sat until we got to another facility where they unloaded us and stuck us in a room with at least 80 other people. They gave us cup of noodles with cold water to eat at midnight. That was dinner.
Okay.
They gave us a 1/2-inch thick mat to lay on with a little folded up emergency rescue blanket. The light stayed on all night, and we were only able to sleep in half-hour increments. We were so cold. The next morning, once again, we got a cup of lukewarm noodles and a bottle of water as breakfast. Soon after, maybe 9 a.m., they shackled us again and took us to another bus to the Tacoma Detention Center. They unloaded us into the facility around 2 hours later, unshackled us, and put us in a bigger room with more people, steel and concrete everywhere. They kept us there from 11:30 a.m. until about midnight. They gave us a change of clothes, a blanket, and a paper-thin mattress. We stayed there for 3 days and were able to see our loved ones during visiting hours. We were told that our loved ones could bring a backpack of clothing so that once we were shipped out, we would have some personal belongings. The day came where they took us to the holding cells and told us we were being shipped out on Tuesday at midnight. They ended up calling us into the cells to be shipped out at 1:30 a.m. that Tuesday. No warning, and no chance for our loved ones to make visiting hours to say goodbye. I never got my backpack of belongings that my wife had ready to bring to me. We were lied to, and our families were left in the dark. We went to the holding cell to change back into the clothes we'd been taken in, and they kept us in the cell with 150 people and started shackling everybody to each other. By the end of the process, it was 8 a.m. We were given no food, water, or anything. Soon after, we were on a bus to a private airport in Tacoma. Off the bus, we watched agents throw the personal belongings we had come with into sacks. A lot of people's belongings were later returned broken or damaged. We were put on a plane where we were once again shackled while waiting to take off to Texas. Halfway through the flight, wrists cuffed together, they gave us something to eat and drink. American cheese between 2 pieces of bread and a bottle of water. That was lunch. Once we arrived in Texas, they took us off the plane, shackled, and got us on a bus without any chance to use a restroom. We were on that bus for over 2 hours, and people needed to use the bathroom. People started peeing on the bus. Eventually, we got to the ICE facility at 9:30 in the evening. We were put in a 15 by 15 foot room where everyone was exhausted, in need of a bathroom, and hungry. They gave us water. Later, we got a sandwich, crackers, and a granola bar. We stayed there until we were processed and they gave us clothes to change into. By the time we were on our way to rest, it was 5 in the morning. These buildings were all white with no daylight. I felt like I was in an insane asylum without the straitjacket. The only colors we could see were in our uniform, the TV, and beds. It was lucky that we were only at the Texas facility for 2 days. Others had been there 6 months to a year, trying to fight their case without any guarantee of winning. I would have gone crazy if I was stuck there any longer. After the 2 days, we went to holding cells and put on our regular clothing that had been worn for a week at that point. And they took us to the edge of the border where the Mexican consulate came to meet us and make sure we were okay. They walked us across the border and took us to their offices where the National Guard and federal police escorted us to a safe shelter. They fed us, gave us clean clothes, and a place to sleep. Afterwards, they gave us a little money and escorted us to where we wanted to go, whether it was the airport or a bus station. This is something that human beings and their families should not have to go through. It's been a hard journey. It's been a horrifying and terrible experience for my wife and family. I feel lucky that I am able to reunite with my wife and that I'm safe. It's sad to know that some of these people won't get to reunite with their families. Some don't have money to survive or a place to go and will end up on the streets. Thank God I am one of the few of thousands that have a family member that could take me in a country I don't know after being raised in America for 40 years. Now I will start a new beginning with my amazing wife and our fat cat. Thank you for taking the time to listen to my story. And before I hand this off to the Frog Brigade, I have just a few words to share from Jaden on this story. Today is a special day. It is Tony and I's 6-month wedding anniversary. However, we won't get to spend it together. As I sit packing up our belongings, 2,100 miles away from the love of my life, not by choice, but by force, I can't help but wonder how this could happen in such a cruel way. My husband was kidnapped from our apartment parking lot at gunpoint, tackled to the ground into sticker bushes that cut his face, hands, and arms, told he wasn't wanted in this country, a country he has worked in for almost his whole life, and a country where his closest family lives. He was on his way to go to work with his son. The way these bounty hunters and ICE agents dehumanized and abused my husband just for being born in Mexico is unforgivable and unacceptable. He didn't get a full meal for over 2 days. He slept on concrete. I put $300 in his account for food and phone calls at the Tacoma detention facility, and it was never given to him or given back to me. We were lied to and misled. The panic, heartache, confusion, anger, sadness, and injustice we have experienced in the last 3 weeks is beyond anything I've experienced in my life. My husband did not commit a crime, yet was treated like a criminal. He was going to work to provide for us and his family. He has a daughter and son who rely on him. He has parents here who rely on him. I rely on him. He's a hardworking, kind, and compassionate man. He helps anyone who needs it because he has a big heart. The reality of him being treated so horrendously, denied food, basic necessities, and comfort makes me sick. He deserved better than that. So does everyone who this is happening to right now. This is not how these cases should be handled. Violently snatching human beings from their loved ones without any notice, leaving family members, pets, and obligations in the dark and unattended to. This isn't right. Don't forget that the United States was built by immigrants. I want to thank everyone in our community who has supported us and spoken out on our behalf during these last 3 weeks. I won't forget it. Everyone needs to speak out and stand up for their neighbors. We are stronger together. Thank you.